Welcome, heathens and witches, to the Horn
and Cauldron podcast.
Yeah, it's a little late. It's been a weird beginning part of the year and cold part of the season. So, yeah.
But it's still technically the Yule time frame. Because it's like about the 2-month span between November and the end of January. And it is still January.
I think that barely counts, but I'll allow it. So either way, I've been John Norgrove. I am John Norgrove, and I have been him probably for the most of the time. And this is Julie, and yeah, this is your witchy podcast at whatever time frame that it comes out at.
Or you're listening to it, as the case may be.
Yeah, or as you're listening to it. So, anywho, this is post our anniversary, right? Podcast anniversary, which means that we have now transitioned into the 104 cycle.
105.
105 cycle. Scroll up.
It's wrong, I know.
Oh.
I just realized it's wrong.
It's her fault.
Yeah, it's 105.
Guys.
Yeah.
So, make hissing comments down below in the thing.
We're not doing that. No.
Get hissed at.
Seal gets changed now.
Get hissed at.
It's changed now.
Post hoc ergo proctor hoc over here.
Don't you make weird sounds at me. It's changed now. So this is one of the 105 series.
So what's the deal with 105s? Right? Is that Jerry Springer's thing? Is that who that is?
It's
Jerry
not
Seinfeld.
Jerry Springer.
Jerry Seinfeld. Yeah, hey, listen, Jerry S. anything, everybody's got the same name to me. I'm going to be super real with you. I'm not a big Seinfeld fan, nor a big Springer fan.
I mean, I knew what you were talking about before you said the wrong name.
Also, did Springer also do stand-up comedy?
We saw a thing that was basically like the history of like Jerry Springer and like the rise and fall.
Yeah.
And I feel like they did in fact say that he did stand-up comedy, but I don't know if it was before the show got wild or after the show trying to keep it going. He became like a
talk radio guy or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he's still making that show. I don't know that The Fall really makes any sense reasonably.
The show does not exist anymore.
Really?
Yeah, I do remember that.
Okay.
I used to watch it back when it
shows how much I never really got into it, dog. It's just it's for sure not my jam at all, man. And like I've seen enough Seinfeld, but that's just because that shit was on when I got home from school on reruns. So like fucking. It was just on, man. I wasn't paying attention.
I never really watched Seinfeld. Actually, I kind of can't stand Seinfeld. Like some of the like,
the 5 good jokes.
Some of like the jokes are good. Like a couple of the like big jokes.
Yeah.
But for the most part, no. It's just
it's not my vibe. It's not my vibe. But you're also like totally not a sitcoms person.
Oh my god, no. Yeah. It takes a lot.
Hey guys, don't worry. Soon, right? She's getting into Reba right now. So. Yeah, because she's new to Reba, so it's fine.
I am, in fact, new to Reba.
Yeah.
And I'm enjoying it because the eldest daughter is about the same age that I would have been when the show came out.
I have no clue.
I would have been like a little bit older. I can tell through her fashion choices.
Sure.
So, yeah, like I would have been a little bit older, but like we would have been within the same like.
Yeah, the show set in the 1840s, so it makes sense. Yeah.
Rude
or accurate?
Rude. Still rude.
Yeah. So
still rude.
Accurate. I'm just putting this out there.
No.
Anywho, what the hell are 105s?
So 105 is the fifth of the.
I mean, okay. We all know that part.
Is the fifth of the Sabbath series.
It's one after 104, one before 106.
With the 105s, what we're doing is we're actually doing these as like magic and media. So we're choosing a piece of media, a movie or a TV show or perhaps a book that has to do with the themes of the Sabbath, and then we are discussing its magical themes here. So first, a little bit about Yule. In modern times, Yule starts on the winter solstice, which is typically like the 20th or 21st of December in the Northern Hemisphere, and that is the longest night of the year. And it usually ends on January 1st. However, as I previously mentioned, Yule used to last about 2 months between late November and early January. And we actually celebrate Yuletide time from about Yule on the solstice, basically all the way up until like February 1st. You know what, y'all? If you enjoy Christmas or like the holiday festivity season, push your celebration later in the year. It is perfect. Ain't nobody got anything going on in January. Why are you taking those decorations down? Yeah. It's boring.
Also, who's got time to take decorations down in January? That's like a February Jonathan problem, my guy. Yeah, we got all them decorations still up. They ain't come down no time soon. Mm-hmm. But they also got up real late, like.
Yeah. Yeah,
so
that's because we try
a week before Christmas.
We don't do any of that stuff before Thanksgiving, and then it's usually a nightmare of busyness beforehand. So we usually put them up late and then leave them up late. Yeah. And I highly encourage you to do so because you know what? It's nice.
Christmas lights are nice, man.
Yeah, Christmas lights are nice.
Yeah,
and the festive decor is lovely. So. Yule is typically celebrated with not only festive decor, but with like bonfires and parties and singing and dancing and feasts and Yule log and wassailing and Yule goats and Yule boar and of course presents and of course Santa.
Yeah.
And that's how we get to Red One. But if you have not listened to our previous episodes, you should definitely check those out. We have a whole bunch of episodes that are related to Yule and the Yuletide season. So that's Yule 101, episode number 2. If you're listening to this episode, first of all, I apologize. That was a long time ago. Man, we have streamlined a lot of things since then. I'm sure that one is weird.
Or it's worse now.
Because
I'm going to be real with you. I haven't heard episode 102 since episode 2, since episode 2 came out.
Yeah, since
I'm not going back.
Since that came out
doing
like
episode
5 years
research.
ago.
Yeah, I got time for that.
Yeah, we're not doing that. And Yule 101 kind of gives you some of the basics of Yule. After that, we have Yule 102, which is episode 28, which talks about the figures of Yule, some of which we'll be talking about in this episode, as well as a basic Yule ritual. Then we have Yule 103, which is talking about the wild hunt, and that's episode 48 that talks a lot about Odin and the wild hunt and their sort of tie-ins with the Yuletide season. And with Yule 104, we talked about ice and snow magic, appropriate also for the season. That's episode 68. And then some other episodes that you might be interested in that are not directly tied to the 10 whatever series is Hidden Heathenry and Modern Holidays. That's episode 26. And I go over most standard Western/American holidays, talking about is it heathen in origin or not?
Yeah. Everybody's favorite game show. Is it heathen? Brought to you by Duh, obviously, and everything.
Or Duh, not at all. Greeting cards.
I mean, that's just make-believe
There was a surprising amount of greeting cards as being the one. So
one of them was Coca-Cola, so whatever.
Yeah. Then we also have 2 pub chats that deal directly with Santa Claus, which sort of kicked off our obsession magically with Santa Claus. One of those is a pub chat that is it's called What Even Is Santa Claus? Is Santa an egregore? And a pub chat that is called a meta-analysis of God King Santa Claus, where we discuss Santa Claus and his inherent powers.
Yeah, his power set, how far-reaching his power is, and, how to deal with that.
Yeah, so Santa and Christmas and the Yuletide season is a lot of fun things to discuss, so we're pretty excited to be kicking this off with Red One, one of the most fun movies that we watched this winter season.
In the Christmas movie category.
Yes, in the Christmas movie category.
Yeah. So, so obviously 105's Magic and Medias, we're doing Red One. Yes? Okay.
This very polite puppy who is asking for your approval.
Do you need assistance? Are you trying to get up? Or what are you doing? Okay, this boy's just being crazy.
Okay.
Ignore the boy. I know, man. You'll get there. You'll figure it out. I have faith. I have complete faith in you. You'll figure it out.
He's got, you know what? This puppy is basically part Fae in that he always needs offerings of whatever bev it is that you're drinking.
Not this bev, though.
Well, it doesn't have chocolate, so, it's fine.
It's whiskey. You're not having any of it. Yeah.
And he definitely thinks that he is a little bit of a person. He's like a changeling boy, and he also doesn't like iron. So I think that maybe he has some magical experience with Yuletide and with Santa. So for those of you watching on YouTube as opposed to listening, you get to see John nuzzle our adorable little puppy.
I was trying to eat through his face to get to his delicious bones, but yeah, sure, nuzzle is one way to say that.
Yeah.
Anywho, okay, so we're talking about Red One this time, right? We are big Christmas movie people. I have always been a big Christmas movie person. I love Christmas movies, both the standard kind and the, no association with these people, Hallmark kind. Primarily because the Hallmark kind are all comedies, if you really actively think about it, and half of them are horror movies. So, rock and roll.
Yeah.
So this season, while we were trying to think about like what to do, we saw Red One, and we were like, this is faux show, the thing we need to do. Red One goes like way deeper than like pretty much any other Santa movie.
Yes.
In the Santa-based space, if you will. Right? So it feels like that you probably don't have brief synopsis.
Oh, absolutely not.
Okay, brief synopsis of Red One. Spoiler-free synopsis of Red One. No, we're going to have to go into spoilers.
Santa and shenanigans, that's your spoiler-free.
Yeah.
Everything in this video is going to be spoilers.
You're going to have spoilers. For what it's worth, though, I feel like there's no logical way that you can be spoiled, for what this is worth, about any Santa movie, right? Because they're not going to make a movie where Christmas is at threat, and then the movie ends, and, like, Santa's a corpse, and Christmas wasn't saved. Right? Like, that's just
every
not
Christmas movie is basically like...
Could you fucking imagine if they made a Christmas movie, and at the end, Christmas wasn't saved, and the world was just like a hellhole?
Yeah, they were
that
just like, fuck Christmas, I guess.
The closest thing to that is the Krampus movie.
Yeah.
Right?
But even then, Krampus doesn't have to do with Santa, who is the bringer of Christmas, right?
Yeah, I mean, for what it's worth, the end of the Krampus movie is sort of like Krampus' success.
Yeah, Krampus' success.
So the holiday season still won?
Yeah, independent of Santa. I mean, basically every Christmas movie that has Santa in it is like shenanigans. Santa goes on some sort of adventure. Yeah, Christmas is saved.
Santa's shenan. Christmas is at threat. Shenanigans allow everything to be saved. Christmas last minutes, which honestly, I mean, based on the amount of years that Santa Claus has been doing this for, feels a little bit like Santa Claus is doing this himself on purpose to bring a little bit of fun and levity to the season,
and also to break it up over thousands of years,
which is reinforced by the Santa movie with bloody what's his name in it. With Kurt Russell,
yes.
Where at the very end, he like low-key admits to being in control the entire time and essentially faking the threat.
Yep.
Which is maybe a little dark,
it's a
but
very
let's
Santa,
not talk about it.
It's a very Santa
thing, right? Yeah. Okay, so plot of Red One is basically Santa Claus gets Santa napped, and so, but like, there's like a secret like multinational organization that keeps an eye on mystical and magical shit, right? Sort of like the librarians from the Librarian Thing, or like that one vault from Indiana Jones, or like whatever, right? So the Council of Mystical Shit in the Santa Claus franchise,
or the Magi in the 1999 classic, The Mummy.
That's true, yeah, exactly. So they're like, Santa got napped. We got to figure it out, and they're like, come to find out, this bad guy hacker boy, he's the one who was in on it. So Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson kidnaps this guy and is like, I'm going to kick your ass. And the government agency's like, or team up, buddy cop style?
Buddy cop team up.
So they obviously decided to go with buddy cop team up in order to uncover the truth of Santa Claus, which is that it was not, in fact, his adopted brother Krampus. He seems like a nice guy. Do not get in Krampus slapped with him. That shit will fuck you up. It is, in fact, Santa's arch nemesis, the Winter Witch. She's sassy. And, but, obviously they save the day. Christmas is saved. The bad guy learns the power of love or something. And so he gets off the naughty list, and now everybody's good, and Dwayne doesn't have to...
He's not retiring.
Retire or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy that he's the, I'm too old for this cop in the buddy cop thing.
Not really. It's just a reskin of Lethal Weapon.
No, I mean, that's what I'm saying. But he's being that character that, I'm all grizzled and I don't see the good in nobody no more. I just want to retire. And you're just like, yeah, dog? You seem pretty intensely good at this job.
Yeah, that's not surprising to me literally at all. One, they build it up.
It's just lazy.
And two, that's the trope.
It is so the trope, right?
Yeah, you can't
to have him do that.
Yeah, you gotta have him.
So... I mean, that's basically that. We get a lot of, side references to other mystical and magical characters.
And creatures,
Yeah. We learn that snowmen are powered by the carrots, not the hats. Frosty is a fucking misdirect.
Scarf.
Right? Yeah, no, I mean, it's the carrot in this. Which means that, in my mind, Frosty's a misdirect by snow people to try and confuse us about how to defeat them in the coming winter wars.
So we don't actually know how to defeat them. This is a thing that we're going to have to keep in mind.
Yeah, that's right. But, so...
Yeah, so let's talk about the individual sort of magical characters associated with this movie. The first one, of course, is Santa.
Yeah.
So in this movie, Santa is an old guy, but he's also crazy buff. One of the things we really enjoyed about this is that they actually talk about how many calories it takes for Santa to do this.
It's like a throwaway line, but it's done so well. The universe is very definitely feels lived in, right? And this Santa Claus feels like he's still powered by magic and everything's good, but also a realist about the mission.
Yes.
TM.
Yes, and his main source of fuel is cookies.
Yeah.
But essentially that's because he's carb loading for the most intense workout.
Yeah.
Of his of the fucking year.
Yeah, whatever. So they're 12 million calories a night.
Yeah, I don't remember how many they said,
some absurd
but something
number like that.
So basically, he spends a whole year carb loading, for one night's worth of work.
Yeah. They also didn't do Fat Santa. Yeah. He's a skinny. It's J. Jonah Jameson. Mm-hmm. He's a skinny guy. What is that actor's name?
Withers?
No,
maybe?
No, it's for sure not.
Yeah, no, he is not a pudgy Santa.
No, but it's good. Also, his suit, you don't really see the full suit until the very end. His suit is fucking tasty, though.
Yeah, but I mean, when there's
second best Santa
there
suit.
is there's scenes where he's doing a whole bunch of push-ups and stuff. So this Santa is hitting the gym.
He's crunching that barbell.
Yeah,
oh my God, it's such a good scene.
Yeah,
he's got an in-room gym.
Yeah, he's got a gym and he's doing all the workouts.
Simmons.
And J.K. Simmons.
J.K. Simmons, yeah.
I was thinking J.K. Withers, and I don't know why I was getting that, but who knows?
That's fine.
It doesn't matter. So yeah, that's Santa. So he's a little atypical of your standard movie.
Yeah.
Classic Santa as far as what a modern Santa is. So modern Santa is one part Saint Nicholas who lived in the third and fourth century and is the patron saint of children, and he left gifts to people in need. He's one part Father Christmas, who took place of St. Nicholas and represented peace, joy, revelry, and food and drink, and one part Sinterklaas, who is a combination of Odin, the Norse deity, and St. Nicholas. In particular, we get a lot of the look and feel of modern-day Santa from Odin, actually. Odin wears a long cloak and a big hat. He rides around on his flying 8-legged horse. How many reindeer are there, you ask?
There's 9 reindeer.
Yes. But most of the time when you're seeing reindeer. These things, there's 8
Rudolph
reindeer,
is just made up for
Rudolph
sweet
is just
toys.
he's just like a toy.
Yeah.
I mean, Rudolph is a real boy, but So like
He's a real boy.
8 horsepower, 8 reindeer power. It works.
Sure.
And Odin is also accompanied by his ravens who listen for news around the world. This is very reminiscent of like elves. He sees you while you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. He knows if you've been bad or good. Yeah. How does Santa know that? It is unclear. In this movie, they talk about it being like there's a list, and the list is sort of like constantly updated. And basically, one of the things I really liked was like trying to read the list would not only A, take you forever, but B, would also break your mind. He's the only person who's able to do it.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, they talk about it briefly, but this is like his mission, right? There's several times when like there's some question about like, well, why doesn't somebody else just do it? Like, ooh, what? You look at all this fancy magical technology you guys have. Couldn't somebody else do it or whatever? And The Rock is just like, no, it's his mission. Like there's some higher order to things that allows him to just like, regardless of what's up, succeed in this mission. Yeah. Right? Because he doesn't seem to like originate in a mystical setting. He's just like a dude who made his mission to deliver toys to kids and like as such transcended into like demi-godhood.
Yeah, exactly, right? So, none of this is really a far-fetched idea from like Sinterklaas, like the Odin Saint Nicholas hybrid, to J.K. Simmons Santa Claus. Yeah. Like he's not rotund, but neither was Odin. He's sort of like an older guy. He's got a bunch of knowledge. He has a mission. He rides around on a magical sleigh. He gets information about children. He does a whole bunch of stuff. Odin is associated specifically with the wild hunt. And that's when Odin and his helpers, his quote-unquote host, ride around the world hunting game. So hunting game, delivering presents, really not that far off when you think about it. And Sinterklaas wears a big red robe and a big fancy hat while he rides around, and then he has little helpers who listen at chimneys. And in the movie Red 1, we do see that the elves, or members of the ELF, it's unclear exactly where the line goes there. The elves are a magical being that exists in this universe, and they don't really talk about them.
They have magically long lives. Yeah. Right? And I mean, they're like they don't call themselves elves because the ELF is like the militant force that backs up Santa
they're like
Claus.
Elf cops.
And there appears to be multiple species are capable of like acting in this. Yes. There's like a polar bear, there's like a regular elf, there's like a penguin. Right? There's like a Dobby-sized elf, there's like an adult elf. There's also Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, which is just like a buff man. But also, when questioned, The Rock hints that he's not human.
Yes.
But it's never made clear what the fuck he is. And he's been alive for some 400 years or
something
some
like
shit.
that. Yeah.
So
like all of this really ties to me for this Santa being more along the lines of this sort of like old-fashioned, or rather pre-1800s Santa, because in 1823 is when we have the Night Before Christmas came out, and that talks about him being a big pudgy guy with a belly like a bowl full of jelly. And then in 1881, we got what John and I like to refer to as Coca-Cola Santa Claus, and that's sort of the Santa Claus that everybody is the visually most familiar with, and that's the thing that we see the most often. So
it's 1881.
1881. Yeah.
Yeah, for the Coca-Cola Santa Claus.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I thought I heard you say 1981, and I was just like,
you know what? I might have tried.
What?
I might have tried. Yeah.
Because he didn't start becoming part of the ads until the 1930s. Yeah. But he's based on an 1881 illustration.
Yes.
Of Santa Claus.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So that is Santa from Red 1. I think it totally works. And I really like the slight differences that they chose to do so that he's not just like bowl full of jelly Santa. It makes it just like a little bit more interesting. Next up, as far as figures go, is Krampus. Now, Krampus has a lot of different ways that he has been portrayed in media. So we're not really going to go too deep into that. But in this, Krampus is the brother of Santa Claus. And that does track based on some mythos associated with Krampus and Santa Claus. So that's not far off at all, actually. And Krampus looks very, very textbook like the Krampus illustrations. He's like a big, tall guy.
He's like a big old goat man. He's like a big old buff goat man.
Guy, you know?
Yeah.
And he lives in...
Such a good... He looks so good. All of the Krampus scenes are fucking absolutely amazing. And again, this is one of those things, the whole set and setting of like the Castle Krampus.
Yeah, Castle Krampus.
I don't know what it's called.
Yeah.
Castle Krampus and the like, let me tell you, Krampus's rocket sled.
Yeah,
whatever the shit that is the fucking
sled.
Coolest
it's very
shit.
Cool. It's very
It's
fun.
just powered by chanting. It's so rad, dude.
Yeah.
Holy heck. Man, Krampus is like arguably my favorite character in this movie by a huge margin.
Yeah.
I love Krampus in this. I want more.
Yeah, me too. I want to know more about actually everything in this universe. They built a wonderful universe with
They
this.
really did. Hopefully, I know that this movie hasn't been getting like a lot of like thumbs up. A lot of people are sassy about it for reasons I genuinely do not understand.
Yeah.
This is a fun movie. It's good. Like, yeah, sure, there are a few scenes where the CGI is like a little weak, but like, gods, what doesn't have a few scenes like that?
I mean,
right? And like, it's not doing something like incredibly novel about Santa Claus, but like, not hating, Hallmark has succeeded at making the exact same movie 800 times a year.
Yeah.
To resounding success.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, fucking whatever, dog. This is a great movie. Like, if you like Christmas movies, you're gonna enjoy this.
Also, it's fun to watch after the season 2. We just rewatched
it's just like an action-packed Christmas movie.
Yeah, it's
rad.
very fun. It's very fun.
Yeah.
So, Krampus in the movie also has a Krampus slap competition.
Yeah, Krampus slap.
Try as I might, I could not find any sort of historical evidence for Krampus slap.
Yeah, I think what they were doing is just making a joke,
and it's a fun joke, and it sounds fun to say.
Yeah.
So that has no historical basis, but I love it.
Yeah, I think what they were just trying to do is obviously Krampus slap is like a modern sporty thing that you can kind of shoot in a simple scene that's just kind of one-on-one. That's like not that difficult to kind of like make obvious jokes about.
Yeah.
Right? Because that like stupid as shit slap competition thing has gotten unnecessarily popular.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they were just trying to do the like, you know, that like pint hold game. Or like the like hammer nail game. Man, I wish I knew the German names for all these because I used to. But like, I think they're just trying to do that, but make it like practical and easy to film.
Exactly. I think that's exactly what it is.
I know what that is.
It's
and
very
it looks
fun.
So good.
I'm super here for it.
Also, Krampus surrounded by various other species as well. Yeah. Just like Santa Claus, which is rad.
It was very much giving me like Goblin King energy from Labyrinth.
For sure.
Yeah.
For fucking sure,
super
dude.
fun.
Yeah.
I really love that.
There are several like if you haven't seen it, watch it, and if you have seen it, like go back and really pay attention to the like background. I keep wanting in my head. I think of them as aliens, but like background monsters in that scene. I think, and I haven't gone through like frame by frame slow mo or whatever. I think there are several references to like classic monster and classic sci-fi, like in that frame.
We saw a lot of things where we were like, "Is that?"
Yeah.
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 So that it's a super fun sort of like little scene associated with it. As far as like Krampus mythos goes, I'm not aware of Krampus having a Krampus castle.
No.
But I love it.
Or
Where else is he
a
gonna
rocket
live?
sled powered by chanting heads.
Yeah, exactly.
Or
a slap contest.
Or slap contest.
However,
or any of that shit.
As I mentioned before, Krampus is mentioned as the brother of Santa Claus in several mythologies and in several media portrayals of him.
Yeah.
He looks like how you would expect. He's usually a satyr man-goat hybrid.
Although I'll tell you what, he got a glow up in this
fur.
one because he's fucking shredded in this movie.
Yeah, he's so shredded. Yeah. With brown or black fur all over his body. He's got the cloven hooves. He's got the goat horns. He's got a tail. He's got the fangs. He's got a long pointed tongue. This Krampus has all of the attractions.
Standard Kramp.
Yeah. Krampus typically carries like chains and bells and birch branches or a whip. But that is when Krampus is going to collect children. Yeah. So we don't see that side of Krampus here, although I imagine if he did have to go collect children, he would show up with that. We don't see any of that in the boss fight, so to speak, at the end of this movie.
Yeah, but again, that's not meant to kill a demon. That's meant to stuff a kid in and then smack what for. Right, because he stuffs a kid in a sack and then beats him with a bundle
because they're bad
birch
kids.
branches.
Yeah. So a lot of the Krampus Santa team ups mythologically and in media have to do essentially with I'm going to take the good one, you take the bad one.
Yeah, and they talk about in this movie that's specifically what they used to do. Right. Yeah. Santa was helping out and shit, and then Krampus, adopted brother, don't ask questions.
Yeah.
He would punish the bad ones, right? But then it started getting out of hand, primarily because of the Winter Witch.
Yeah.
And and then they broke up. The duo broke up.
Yeah.
Krampus is I don't know, whatever, locked in a castle. Whatever the fuck's going on.
It seems like he was
honestly,
put in
dope.
timeout. In my mind, Krampus lives next door to the Addams family.
Yeah.
Because
he's just timeout. He's just timed out.
Yeah, he's just timed out with all his friends. He's like, okay, but can my friends come over? And they were like, yeah, sure, I guess. Just don't leave.
Yeah. Yeah, basically.
Yeah. So, Krampus is sometimes referred to also as a belsnickel, and that does not really appear in this, and I was kind of thinking it would.
And sometimes belsnickels are referred to as... So, it would be like if Krampus and Santa are equal, elf and belsnickel are equal.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So, it's Krampus's elves, or a bad elf.
Yes.
So...
Yes. Yeah, but we don't really have that, and there are also some mythos that sort of indicate that Krampus might be the daughter of the Norse goddess Hel, but there isn't any information about her having a son. Or that he's the son of the Norse goddess Hel.
Yeah, how did you write out the whole word daughter there?
I have no idea.
That's remarkable.
What's crazy is
it says son literally at the end of the. Start the sentence with daughter, end the sentence with son.
You know what's wild about that is I literally just cut and paste this from previous notes that I had. So
about Krampus.
This has happened.
So this has been wrong
several times, and you know what? I'm just not going to fix it in the notes every time.
Yeah.
Every time it's a little bit of fun. So that's Krampus. Now, one of the things that I want to mention before we get into Gryla is in the movie, Krampus talks about Gryla being his ex, his ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
First of all, this is hilarious, and I loved this. It was so fun, because he's like, oh, that's my crazy ex.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Well, and he talks about, because who's the actress who plays Gryla? Is
Sabrina, the teenage witch.
Yeah, but I don't
remember what her name is. But
Kiernan Shipka.
Yeah.
Wow, not a 1,000,000% chance I wasn't going to remember that off the dome. Kiernan Shipka, which is fine. I'm literally no opinion on that whatsoever, of casting choice wise. But the whole time, Krampus is just fucking shit talking this form. She used to she was a beautiful 11-story woman. With 3 heads or some bullshit. Whatever the fuck he kept saying.
Gorgeous, ferocious monster.
Yeah, he kept, talking about how beautiful she was when she was a monster. And you've got Kiernan Shipka here just being like, I'm the bad guy. Krampus is none of her fucking shit.
Yeah.
It is genuinely hilarious, dog.
It's very funny.
Yeah, good. So good.
In the movie, Gryla is known as the Christmas witch, and her whole shtick is that she wants to punish or get rid of all of the people who are on the naughty list.
That's who plays Krampus.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
It's the guy from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, Christopher Hivjus.
Oh, that's fantastic. I love him. That totally makes sense. I totally see that energy there.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Tormund Giantsbane.
She's like trying to punish everybody. Obviously, she's the bad guy. And it seems like this is a shtick that she's done before. And that's why they're trying to like not have her around. She also has, I don't remember if they refer to them as her sons, but they are her sons. Her like hench people are her sons.
Yeah. They specifically call out that they're her like sons.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Gryla is a very interesting character, arguably a little bit more interesting than actually Santa or Krampus themselves because of the multifacetedness and the like character arc of Gryla through the mythos. So Gryla, a mention of Gryla first appeared in the Prose Edda, which was written in the 13th century. And in that, she's typically described as a monstrous troll. And also sometimes maybe even not described as a she. Gryla described as a monstrous troll who wanders the countryside demanding charity and bad children so she can cook and eat them from those who she stumbles across, whether they be travelers in the wood or people on a farm. She goes up to the farm, knock, knock, knock. Anybody got any food? Also give me your bad children.
Yeah. What's that kid? Drawing on the walls? That allowed? And they're like, no, that's cool. He's doing that on purpose. And she's like, all right, keep an eye on you, though.
Yeah, I mean... That seems like a good way to get your kids to not do the thing you don't want them to do.
The threat of giant human-eating trolls? Yeah.
Yeah. Now,
very effective.
Her ties to the Christmas or Yuletide season don't even, and her gender, don't even appear until the 17th century, more than 400 years later. It's possible that the myths were connected to mummers' plays, like where you dress up as an entity to ward it off. Like, that is the sort of origination
like
of the Krampus lore
thing,
or
the sweet Belsnickles costumes,
or like literally Halloween costumes.
Yeah.
So it's possible that that's where this sort of began, where you dress up as the thing in order to ward it off. But her early myths indicate that she was probably a he or a hermaphrodite, or a being that did not have discernible gender.
Yeah.
This is actually not terribly uncommon in a lot of old mythos because does it matter? Not really.
Yeah.
It does not matter if you're a he and eating children or a she.
Do we care if the troll, like if the troll knocks on your door and it's like, I'm here to collect your children, and you're like, oh, I don't know about this guy troll thing. Maybe bring a lady troll around. Give up these kids.
Sorry, I'm fresh out. Do you have? But if you were a lady troll, that would be fine.
Yeah, that's like a wild and insane way to interpret anything. I think the more important point is that this lady's trying to eat, or person, that's a huge person, specifically is trying to eat your kids. Bigger issue at hand.
Yeah.
Right.
In an early 17th century poem, Gryla is also described as wandering around the countryside in the summer. So her evolution to being a sort of Christmas thing does not come until
winter witch
way later on.
Yeah.
And there's a whole series of poems called the Grykelvedi. They are children's poems who are revolving around Gryla, Gryla's husband, the elves, and the Santa Clauses.
Yeah. A lot of legal precedent set by Santa.
Not even a little bit, no.
Santa Claus 2, the Mrs. Claus jokes. Get out of here with that. Yeah, that's the fucking best. That's the best Christmas joke ever made. Full fucking stop.
You're welcome. I set that one up.
I will
for
die on this hill. It is the best Christmas joke ever made.
Yeah, I set that one
Santa Claus 2, the
for
Mrs.
you.
Claus.
You're welcome.
Damn, that's good.
So Gryla is generally described as being gray and gaunt, sometimes monstrous, sometimes not. She has eyes that burn like fire in the back of her head. Her ears are on her shoulders.
Like coming out the back? Or just like sunk way in there, Morty?
Unclear. Her ears are on her shoulders. She has a large fanged mouth and a long crooked nose that emits a blue vapor. She also has hooves and claws and walks with a cane.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, right? Like, of course, she's old.
So a monster.
reasonable.
A monstrous old creature.
Yeah.
Not particularly far off from her monster form in the movie, but also not super close. It kind of doesn't really matter that much.
Yeah.
Because the way that she's described can be wildly different.
How many Krampus stories involve talking about his fucking remarkable six-pack? Right?
Yeah.
So, shut the fuck up.
Right? Gryla's evolution over time changes also in the mythos, and she becomes much less scary and much less grotesque. Newer versions of Gryla portray her as just an old woman who lives in a cave cooking children or other things like pieces of mountains for her family's meal. She's just trying to put food on the table. She's old. She's tired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's reasonable. Screech fruit.
Screech fruit.
From what I've heard, pretty tasty for trolls.
I mean,
so
I imagine
the
children
trolls are into it.
Young, so they'd be more tender, and you'd have to cook them for less time. So this makes sense. This is just economical.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just like, getting whatever those meal groups.
Yeah. Unless you're going to do an Hercules, how many kids can kick the shit out of a mountain troll?
Exactly.
Yeah, basically
right?
none. But Hercules, though, don't eat him. He'll kick your ass. Yeah.
Well, even newer versions.
I've seen that Disney movie. I remember when he choked that snake out or whatever the fuck was happening there.
I mean, even newer versions of her mythos, they completely remove the cooking children part. She generally is like an old scary woman with a heart of gold living in a cave.
Yeah.
In these stories, a child often goes looking for Gryla.
Sure.
Like sometimes you'll have children going to look for Santa Claus.
Because she offered him like a subpar candy, and this little motherfucker decided to betray his entire family.
Exactly.
Looking at you.
I love Turkish Delight. Not that much.
Not sacrifice your brothers and sisters about it. My goodness, you monster.
Yeah. What's interesting is when a child does go to look for Gryla, they often find her at home. She's not hard to find.
Yeah. They're like, oh man, I wonder where Gryla is. And they go to the first stop and they're like, oh my god, no, she's exactly where you thought she would be. And she's just like,
turns out
close the door,
that's exactly where you thought she was going to be, inside a mountain in a cave.
Yeah.
And then she does have sons. So sometimes they're called the Yule lads.
Which is a fucking great name.
Yeah. But there are 13 of them. And these are Gryla's sons. They're usually described as being troll-like as well. They are big, they are ugly, and they are mischievous creatures. They often wear gray striped clothes and are carrying sacks.
Like crime. What is this those old jail outfits, the gray striped jail outfits,
Yes, but
like an old timey cartoon criminal, who's like,
but like as an elf, like a jail elf, basically.
Yeah, sure,
yeah,
I'm here for it. I support.
So they originally sort of start off as mischievous Christmas spirits, and each one of them has like a theme, and they visit homes during the Christmas season.
So there's like arson, burglary. Are there themes?
Yeah.
Are they like what is it? The Seven Dwarves or whatever?
It is a lot like that.
Like the Seven Dwarves of crime. Don't Seven worry. Dwarves of Christmas crime.
Don't worry, I got you.
I'm very
So the first of the Yule lads arrives 13 before Christmas and then stays for 13 days and then departs. So basically 13 days before Christmas and then,
they visit their mom for Christmas.
Right? No, at your house.
Oh, they
at
visit
your
me
house,
for Christmas.
They visit. Yes.
Okay.
The second one arrives 12 days before
we don't have enough
Christmas.
Room for 13 lads
they
in this
stay
house.
for 13 days and then they depart. So you got like a whole month of these Yule lads showing up, and only like one day they're all there together. And that's
but it's Christmas Day. That seems rough.
Yes. So
shit.
basically,
is that a spreadsheet?
This is a spreadsheet. Yes.
Oh shit! And they have names?
They do.
Oh my god! I'm so jazzed about this right now.
I knew you'd be so excited.
This is fucking
oh
rad.
my god!
I'm brand new.
So excited. I just absolutely spilled my drink.
Your Bev.
Okay,
I'm so jazzed
so
about
each
this.
Yule lad arrives individually and stays for a visit of 13 days starting on the 12th of December. The first lad departs on Christmas Day, and then the rest follow suit each day through the 6th of January.
Yeah, sure.
Right? Okay.
Yeah.
So the first lad, the one who arrives on the 12th, he harasses sheep, but he has stiff peg legs, so that's his mischievousness. If you want to try and say his names, you are more than welcome to do so.
Oh, boy. Oh, let me lean in here and let me see if I can look at this here. Stegjarsatar.
Yes. The English translation is sheepcoat clawed.
Yeah.
So
he's just clomping around, going like, wah, making fun of your sheep and whatnot.
Yes.
Okay.
Yule lad number 2.
Next lad.
Go ahead. You're going to regret this by the end.
Gila Jaguar?
Sure, why not?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Gila Jaguar.
English translation is Gully Gawk. This guy hides in gullies waiting for an opportunity to sneak into the cowshed and steal milk. He arrives on the 13th of December.
Oh, that's not too dramatic.
Third Yule lad.
Stuffer. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Stuffer.
His English name is Stubby.
Nice.
He's abnormally short.
Okay.
He steals pans for the food baked to the bottoms and the brims. He arrives on the 14th of December.
Oh, I mean, clean your fucking dishes and you don't have to worry about that.
Or you let this guy do it for you.
Right. Thvorslecker?
Otherwise known as Spoon Licker. This guy steals wooden spoons.
Oh my god, also, I'm sorry, these are Icelandic names. I am so fucking sorry. I don't speak a bloody lick of Icelandic.
That's why I didn't even try.
Yeah.
So
I'm studying Klingon right now in Duolingo. Do not come at me about my pronunciation, my guys.
So this guy's name is Spoon Licker, and he steals wooden spoons used for cooking, but he's also extremely thin from malnutrition. I'm assuming that there's not a lot of food on these spoons, and that's probably why.
Sure. Yeah.
He arrives on the 15th of December.
Yeah. Okay, so, Polteskefil?
Yeah. This is Pot Scraper. He steals pots to scrape out the leftovers. He arrives on the 16th of December.
Ah, look at these guys. One's pans, one's pots. It sounds like these guys are just doing your fucking dishes.
Well, one wants the crispy food, and the other one just wants the bit. He just wants to lick it out.
A little bit of goop. Yeah, sure. What are we at here? Oscar's Glear?
Otherwise known as bowl licker. He hides under beds awaiting the wooden food bowls placed on the floor. So like if you're bringing food into your room, he's eating the leftovers or whatever scraps are from the food in your room.
In bed? Ugh. No. Man, get out of here.
He arrives on the 17th of December. Next is
Herdeseklir,
who's known as Door Slammer. He enjoys slamming doors, especially during the night, waking everybody up. He arrives on the 18th of December.
Nice. Rad. I'm here for it. Skirgamur.
Yes, otherwise known as Skier Gobbler.
Oh, this guy gets stabbed in the neck.
He really loves Skier.
Yeah, I get it.
Style of yogurt.
Yeah,
he arrives
I'm here
on the
for
19th.
Yeah.
I imagine he eats all your Skier. Next up, you have...
Bujnan Krakir?
One of my favorite things is making you say words in other languages on this podcast, y'all.
I'm confident. Listen, I could be preparedly reading the next one, so there's not a pause.
But you're not, I know.
I'm not at all.
It's the best.
I'm not committed to this like that.
This guy, otherwise known as Sausage Swiper, he hides in the rafters and snatches sausages that are in the process of being smoked. He arrives on the 20th of December.
Oh, man, that's also unacceptable. Like, you can like a bowl, dog, but, like, don't be swiping my Skier, my sausage. Get out of here with this. All right?
Next up...
Glugagagir?
Otherwise known as the Window Peeper. Oh. He is a snoop who looks through windows in search of things to steal.
Oh, okay.
He arrives on the 21st.
But he's committing stealing also.
Yeah, that's not...
Okay, he's not, I mean, but, like, he's not just, like, somebody who's peeping. He's like a peepee and a crime.
He's like
crime peeper.
He's thieving.
Right?
Yeah.
So which makes it gently worse.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, next.
Gatathefur?
Yes. Otherwise known as doorway sniffer. He has an abnormally large nose and a very acute sense of smell because he's got a big nose. And he uses that to locate bread, specifically laufa bread. He arrives on the 22nd of December.
Man, Doorway Sniffer is a fucking terrible name.
Yep.
Wow. Bad
Next up
job.
is...
Ketkrokur?
Otherwise known as Meat Hook. He uses a hook to steal meat. He arrives on the 23rd of December.
That's just a slasher from a horror movie. Who's the one with the meat hook? Skin face? What's that face? Who's that guy who wears your face?
Oh, Leatherface.
Is that Leatherface?
Yeah.
Leatherface a meat hook
there you
boy?
Go. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just Leatherface.
Yeah.
Leatherface over here getting fucking getting reclassified.
Yeah, and then the last, who arrives on Christmas Eve and leaves on the 6th of January, is
Kurtosnifkir,
who is also known as Candlebeggar. He follows children to steal their precious candles made of tallow and are thus edible. So this guy is stealing and eating your candles.
He's like, welcome to darkness. No. Which also, okay, imagine, if you would, being a child in the woods. Like, you're walking from your house to your outhouse with a candle, and you just see an arm reach out of the gloom and snatch that candle, and the candle goes out in the snatching, right? Because obviously he's not going to eat it while it's lit. No, it snatches out, and then you just hear somebody, like, snorfing, chewing up and eating a candle in the now absolute darkness. Fucking nightmare.
Yeah, so I want to remind you,
half of these guys, not that big of a threat. The other half of these guys, absolute dicks. 2 of these guys, straight crimes, dog.
Yeah, so I want to remind you that all of these figures are here on the 25th of December. That means on Christmas Day, you've got somebody harassing your sheep, somebody trying to steal milk, somebody who's trying to get food off the bottom of your pans that's been baked to the bottom, actually may be helpful. Somebody who's stealing your cooking spoons, somebody who's stealing your pots to lick them out, also may be helpful. Somebody hiding under the bed, somebody slamming doors, somebody who wants to eat all your yogurt, somebody who's stealing your sausages, somebody who's snooping through your windows to steal stuff, somebody who's trying to steal your bread, somebody who's trying to steal your meat, and then also somebody who's trying to steal and then eat your candles.
Yeah, but only from kids. Just don't let the kids have candles.
Yeah. So that is the Yule lads, the sons of Gryla.
Yeah. I'm here for it. I support these guys. I support these guys a bunch.
So over time, these Yule lads morph into more benign and mischievous figures and sort of actively help the people that they encounter, even though they still have mischievous tendencies.
Yeah.
Which brings them closer to modern-day Western Santa Claus
How close are these guys? How close are these guys as elves in relation to the shoe dudes and the tree full of cookies dudes?
They're...
You know what I'm talking about?
I would say that
I wonder if it's like, in my mind, like, it's not
I feel like they're halfway,
species of
because
elves.
I feel like
it's just families of elves.
Yeah, they're just a different family of elves.
You know, it's like, oh, my family's specced into, like, stealing metals. And you're like, oh, that's wild, dude. My family does cobbling for, like, people when they sleep at work. And you're like, oh, that's pretty crazy. And they're like, yeah, dog, I was at a fucking family thing, saw these elves the other day, they're baking cookies in a tree. And you're like, huh, they're baking cookies in a tree? Like, with heat? What are they using? Some sort of, like, elf, like, some sort of fire magic or something? He's like, not regular oven, man. It's inside a kindling. Wild concept.
Yeah.
But pretty fucking good cookies.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think they're just like a different species, a different family, a different dynasty of elves.
Sure, yeah, of course, yeah.
So when they all get together at the elf blot, you know, they're like doing their individual things.
For sure, for sure.
Obviously, the Sons of Gryla do not do this literally at all in the movie, any of these things.
No, they're just like...
They're just generic
they're just like
henchmen.
Hench guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they all wear similar outfits, but they're also like... just like mercenary outfits?
Yes. Now, in some of Gryla's mythos, there are maybe some different parentage for some of these. Maybe Santa Claus is also her husband, but she also has a different husband, and maybe she like got a little strange later on. There's a lot that goes into the Gryla mythos. I actually had a really, really fun time reading this basically like a dissertation somebody did that was in the Wayback Machine from like the early 2000s about Gryla, and that is in the sources, in the Dibbly-Doo, wherever it is that you're watching or listening to this.
Yeah.
I highly recommend it. It was very interesting. It goes into a lot of different pieces there. It even has some of the poems there so that you can read them yourself, and just sort of enjoy Gryla.
Nice.
So that is the sort of magical pieces of the components of the movie Red One. Yeah. So now you can rewatch the movie with this knowledge and get additional joy out of it, because you don't have 13 elves coming to wreck your shit up at Christmas.
Right? I mean, but though, I probably party with these lads like at least once. They seem like they might be pretty rad guys. Maybe not the Peeper one. That guy could chill the fuck out a little bit, but whatever.
He could calm down.
Right? Every family's got to have one, right? Crime boy.
Unfortunately, yes. Yeah.
They also talk about, they also mention offhandedly in the movie, like, other magical creatures, right? They talk about the
Headless Horseman.
Did it mention Nessie or somebody?
They mentioned something else, and I can't think of what it is.
I can't remember who the heck it is either.
But they do mention other things. I really hope that there are more movies in this universe that come out. This would be a really fun universe to explore. Please watch this. So please watch this movie so that they decide to make other movies about this universe. Because that would be super fun.
It's super fun. It's super fun. Also, I don't know if it came across in your research with Gryla, but in the movie, when you say her name, no matter where it is, she can hear you say it.
Oh yeah, that's not a thing.
And that's just something they just made up for the movie?
That's just something they made up for the movie to make it
spookier.
Eagles, giant eagles.
Sure.
But it's very fun. I'm here for it.
Yeah.
There's nothing that says that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Right? But it's not mentioned in any of the Gryla mythos that she can hear you when you say her name. But that's really fun, and I definitely enjoy that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really seem like she's the enemy of Santa in the mythos.
No, really, they really do a good job as portraying her as the crazy ex. You know? So she's not in the movie, Santa's enemy per se.
Yeah, in the movie, she's she may be Krampus's ex, but she's for sure Santa's nemesis.
Yeah.
In the movie.
Yeah.
Right?
But
which is kind of wild.
And they kind of hint to it, but they also don't hint at how bad things got. So it still leaves a lot of room for interpretation there. So now that we've done this episode, now that you've seen the research, because for those of you that are new here, he has no idea the research that I do when we do these episodes.
Yeah.
All of this information that I am going over is basically new to him entirely. Yeah. Other than we watched the movie.
I just have a fine background radiation of knowledge in all subjects, and am quick on my feet. Good at vamping, if it were.
Yeah. So we'll probably watch it again now that we've seen these notes, so that we can really kind of go through all the bits.
Yeah, I really want to see if they have one of the sons is portrayed by a shorter actor, maybe a guy who's 5'4" and the rest of them are 6 feet tall or something.
Meat hook or something.
Yeah, just
that,
something that because I've never really had a chance to pay attention to her sons in it or whatever, and I do still want to go through and really analyze the monsters in the background. I'm for sure certain there are some references to classic cinema, fantasy, and sci-fi. Yeah. And those references may be we have 57 extras today. We need masks. Let's just go to the giant warehouse full of masks and grab anything that looks vaguely monstrous, TM. Right? And whatever. I'm totally okay with that.
Whatever.
I understand that movies are made things and not everything needs to be perfect. That's a fucking pedantic thing to complain about. But it feels like there's some references in there.
It does,
right? And it felt that way the first time, but it went by so fast. And then the second time, I paid a little bit more attention, and I was I for sure still feel this vibe, and I need to just sit down and do the work.
Yeah, well, but now you have the audience knowledge.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's kind of, or the research knowledge. So now you have to kind of figure that out.
Yeah. So favorite character in Red One.
Krampus, hands down.
Yeah, Krampus.
Actually, you know what? Krampus is my favorite character, definitely hands down. Polar bear, aren't you? But I fucking love that polar bear so much.
Polar bear's pretty good.
The polar bear.
Garcia the polar bear.
Yeah, I love
very
it.
good. Absolutely.
Yeah, love the polar bear.
Yeah.
Yeah, very fun.
That is fun.
Yeah.
So, you know what? This is a great movie. It's got a lot of, interesting concepts.
Yeah.
It's sort of merging a bunch of, I would argue, gently disparate, winter, Yule, seasonal creatures, magical folk, lore and legend, all that sort of stuff together, in quotes. All of that stuff together in a good way that hints at a significantly more magical universe. They also do the standard blending magic and technology and ooh, who knows or whatever in a fun way. Honestly, Santa Claus is like an almost non-existent character in this movie, but the stuff that you do get from Santa, I think certainly like adds to the mythos.
Yeah.
Right? I think that this is a very overall additive movie.
Absolutely.
To the greater mythos, and I would love to see more within this specific universe. Even if we can't get any of the original actors back for it.
Yeah.
You know, give me a fucking Easter Bunny movie in this universe, dog. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like one of those sort of things, you know? Give me an Uncle Sam or whatever the heck, you know?
We've definitely done some, like, fan theory for
about,
that.
like, what you could do for
Where
other
you
holidays
go with the other
in
holidays.
this. Yeah, exactly.
It's fun. Yeah.
So, definitely give it a try. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
This was a really fun movie. It had a lot of fun little gimmicks in it, a lot of fun little bits. This is definitely going to be on our watch every Christmas Yule season kind of list now.
Yeah, it's getting in there with like Elf and all the rest of those.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. That being said, you've heard our opinion on it. What's your opinion on it? If you liked it, even if you didn't like it, what didn't you like? Did you still take some magical stuff out of it? Did you learn something in the podcast? So you can comment below if you're watching this on YouTube. And you can always hit us up on social media or send us a message on the website. The links for all of that stuff will be in wherever links are in the manner in which you are listening to this podcast. You have to go to the like details page or whatever, or just go pretty much to Nerd Jive anywhere.
Yep,
right?
That's right.
That's my handle for everything social media, as well as the website, which is nerdjive.com.
Yep.
So you can check that. You can reach out to us there and talk to us. Let us know what's going on with that. We'd love to hear your opinion. And you can also, if you like this content, sort of support us and help make more content like this by joining our Patreon, which is, we have a Nerd Jive Patreon. We have access to Book of Shadows pages about all of these episodes, as well as a more direct chat to reach out to us. And speaking of that, we would like to thank our patrons, Alan, Miranda, Somewhere, Alexa, Panda, and Skylar. You guys are awesome. Thank you very much. You keep us doing this fun thing with
and better every time.
Improvements, continuous improvements, and the capacity to do these things in this increasingly busy, vaguely nightmarish time we live in. So, and obviously sources will be in all the links and all that sort of stuff.
Yes, absolutely. So, that's Yule 105. Looking forward to the next
welcome
Sabbath.
to 2025. New year, new time. Weird times.
Yeah.
Weird times. But yeah, either way, I've been John Norcroft. This has been Julie Norcroft. This has been the Horn
and Cauldron
podcast. Regular edition, but 105. So kind of new regular edition. And stay magical, folks.
Yeah, and don't forget, breathe in self-confidence and breathe out self-doubt.